a couple things, maybe not necessarily on the agenda today, but we will go through, well, they should be on the agenda, but, is our guiding principles. The guiding principles allow, I believe they would be sent out to the committee. And if you would care to, at some point, read through those to see if there is anything you would like to add or remove. And what it allows us as a group is have those approved, and then we do not need to go back to the board to get further approval if we want to go down to Jefferson City and advocate for a specific topic. So that's what we would do on those. I believe having read through them, what you got is the ones that were approved last year. Some of them will stay the same. I think what we're looking for is somebody to advocate for Eastern Jackson County. Because a lot of this deals with that either through the Truman Sports Complex or just advocating for Eastern Jackson County economic development. I think everybody knows that, maybe with a slight exception of Lee Summit, but Blue Springs, Independence, Raytown, Grandview, Sugar Creek are all looking for advocacy. And I think the Truman Sports Complex being a viable place is part of that. That said, I don't know if anybody's read through it, but if you have anything you would like to change on those, please email it back to Jeff, and then we could look at that again at our next meeting when we get changes. Most of the stuff on here, I think, is somewhat relevant. We advocated for the Rock Island Trail, and now we're still advocating just to keep that. We would like to get that finished through Pleasant Hill, so it connects up with the Katy Trail. That was of the transportation. Of course, the city, I'm sure, of Raytown wants to increase funding to provide basic city services. I doubt that's changed much over the years. But when it comes to the health care and the other ones that are on here, some of those I'm not qualified to know what is, but I think Shannon Moss with ReDiscover, I believe that you've done a lot on what is written in there. And I don't see anybody from the school district here about the education priorities. Do we have the college here? I believe right. So that said, if we could go through that, and we will have something, we'll probably call individually, but if you have anything that you'd like to add into that or think ought to be included in that, it's time to get that going so we can have that done for the November chamber board. Missy, yes. Missy.
Under some of this, especially tourism, the committee may want to collaborate and think about wording to add on there the support for any state or county funding as everybody is preparing for the FIFA 2026. You know, we don't know what the legislators may have to take up for consideration of funding additional improvements, or, I mean, I know they've already pledged their support for the fundraising side of it, but you just never know what comes up through May, you know, January through May, that might have to be an ask. And it probably is in our best interest, right, to support those efforts.
I would say so. And I think Governor Parsons, of course, he won't be there that long, has said that the state would help support the FIFA area, but I haven't heard of what that looks like yet. Or I know on the transportation side, when they did the Super Bowl draft party, they put some money towards that also. And then as far as having, you know, buses that will go around to local restaurant areas or, you know, to help tie in the city.
Yeah, some of the package that the governor was speaking about is the pledge that they had to put on the table to help upgrade or address improvements at GHA Field. But yes, there may be other things, you know, because they're going to have to deploy, as we have heard at several meetings, the State Highway Patrol will be here. They'll be housed for those 6 weeks. There'll be other things I think that may come about as everybody starts getting to the pencil to paper, doing the math and doing the planning process. And I guess we just want to make sure that as it comes about, if we can in any way show that we need that support, that would be something to think about.
Will do, I agree. And we'll come up with something and then we'll have a draft to go out. We'll try to add that on there. Anybody else have anything they'd like to throw in there right now, or? I'm not seeing. There's a caller, but I don't know. Who the caller, I'm sure. Okay. The other thing I wanted to go through, I'm hearing something, but it's that, is this committee could make a recommendation to the board of the chamber. There are several ballot initiatives, and I'm not gonna read them all, but I'm gonna just put it out there for, to see if there is a consensus. Ballot amendment, amendment number 2 is basically the sports, betting amendment. A yes vote will amend the Missouri Constitution to permit licensed sports wagering regulated by the Missouri Gaming Commission and restrict sports betting to individuals physically located in the state and over the age of 21. The amendment includes a 10% wagering tax on revenues received to be appropriated for educational institutions in Missouri. That's what the yes vote will give you, and of course a no vote is everything stays the way it is. Is there any desire for anybody to take an opinion on that, or do you think the chamber ought to just let that go?
I mean, I think it would be a good idea to support it. I mean,
For regular purposes?
yeah.
I remember, I don't know how I feel about it, to tell you the truth, but whenever they say talk about money going towards school districts, I get the catch of that. And I remember Tom McDonald, when he was our state representative, and they talked about the lottery tickets and all that was supposed to go. And there was a lot of questions about, well, where does that money go? And Tom would say 100% of it absolutely goes to education, but it doesn't mean that education is still funded the same from the state.
Right, I mean, does it include, I would have to read the legislation just from a political perspective, but I mean, does it include a designated funding stream, like specific?
Yeah, well,
that.
that money will still go there. What it doesn't guarantee is the existing money from the state of Missouri that is going to education will not go down because it's not going in. Right, that's. And I don't know how you can do that because the budget changes year to year, you know.
I can see, again, from the political perspective, that this is going to be like such a massive increase in revenue that they would take away.
Yeah.
But this is Missouri.
Yeah, that's true. Any opinions on the Zoom call? Yes, no? Alan?
I guess I'm torn. I think the whole idea of gambling is not good for society, and I'm opposed to it, but I think everybody's doing it, and I don't know how you can avoid it at this point.
Do you want to just, is there anybody here that is opposed to this that we?
No, and I just think that it's inevitable, and we're losing a lot of revenue right now to Kansas because of it. I got to get on the same playing field.
I would agree on that. Absolutely. So I think we got a consensus then, unless somebody are on that one, moving forward, to let the board know. We're not gonna talk about amendment 3, that's a chamber issue. The next one,
Sorry, would that go under education? Or would that go?
we'll figure this out.
Okay.
It's a ballot initiative, it's not gonna go on the back principles, it's just, okay, it's just for the support, but this is things that are being voted on in November. So today we, the chance to, if we wanted to approve anything, then the board can decide whether they want to approve it, then we could, they should set the recommendation or.
Okay.
On the ballot, there's amendment 5. And I know, again, this is to put a gambling boat on the Osage River between the Missouri River and Bagnell Dam. I don't know if we need to take an opinion on that. They want to, I'm okay with it. I think we could skip over that.
Yeah.
So, that's not necessarily this.
Alan has a comment.
Yeah, Alan?
I guess my only issue with that, it indicated that it's only approval for one casino. I think if we do it, that'd be open to everybody.
Well, you think they should have a fair market out there and competition like restaurants have, right?
Right.
There's an argument to that, I have to.
Another side of that would be, is that if another casino opens up in the Ozarks, then. If somebody is living in the Ozarks and currently goes to Kansas City to go to a casino, the county gets, and the city and the county get some of that money, right? So
True, but
technically, there could be a county loss in dealing with.
I think they're looking there. Yeah, they went.
They probably go to Boonville.
Yeah, there's other votes. Let's not say anything, I think we're gonna skip over that. All right. And then, number 6, and I see Chief Fuel for Raytown Police Department. There's a couple things on here, that I'm unclear about on this one. A yes vote on number 6 will amend the Missouri Constitution to levy costs and fees to support salaries and benefits for current and former sheriffs, prosecuting attorneys, and circuit court attorneys to ensure all Missourians have access to the courts of justice. I don't know how that, because it got up to the level of being of language. Chief, are you there?
Yeah, I am. I don't know. I tell you what, I really have to kind of dig into that a little bit more to give a cogent kind of
Okay.
opinion on that. So I agree. It's got a lot of moving parts and a lot of, I guess, ripples. So
Well, you're gonna love one of the later ones here.
what's that?
Stick around because you're gonna really love this last one when we got up here.
Yeah.
Number 7 is basically that they're trying to outlaw, make it so by a constitutional amendment, outlaw the fact that the state of Missouri will never have ranked choice voting. I don't know if that's a chamber issue or not, so we could go. It starts out by saying only allowing citizens of the United States to vote. Well, that's the law already. But when it goes down into it, it says some states have gone to a ranked choice voting system instead of primaries, to where the best 2 candidates then would go on against each other instead of the winner of each political party. So there's some argument on that, I think is. Sonia?
I think that there's a constitutional issue at hand on that. I think it's better to recuse than say anything.
Okay. All right, we will go on. Proposition A is minimum wage. Do you want Missouri law to, let's go, a yes vote will amend Missouri state statute for minimum wage beginning January 1st, 2025 to $13.75 an hour, and an increase of $1.25 and $15 an hour in 2026. I think that's kind of business oriented. I don't know if anybody can hire anybody for less than $15 an hour right now anyway, but does anybody have an opinion on the minimum wage?
I always have an opinion. I think the marketplace should determine the minimum wage.
That's kind of what I'm okay with that myself, you know, I don't know. It also has a little kick in there too. I think that any employer with more than 15 employees has to give a sick leave to, which I think is, again, a market thing. So I think, do we want to take an opinion of a no or a yes, or just move on?
I'd say move on. I think it's sort of inflationary too. I think it's shown that minimum wage increases are inflationary.
Without a doubt,
And plus people lose jobs.
without a doubt.
I would say so too. We can come back to that. Then we get down to. There's one on child care tax credits, which, I really hope everybody can read that one on their own, but I'm gonna read it just so everybody's heard it once. A yes vote will amend the Missouri Constitution to grant the General Assembly statutory authority to exempt all property, real and personal, used primarily for the care of a child outside of his or her home by general law. An assessing authority may be authorized by general law to exempt from the assessment levy and collection of taxes such portion of the property of the individual corporation, organization, or association that is used primarily for child care. I have a hard time figuring out, are they just trying to say if you own a daycare in your house, you don't pay property taxes on your home? It seems,
That's what they're saying, and I would say no.
I would say no on that too, but,
I would definitely say on that, these are, I mean, you can have a for-profit childcare business and not pay property tax, excuse me? No, no, but it's gonna pass.
I would rather give the people that do childcare some type of, no, I believe you can take that as before tax income.
Yeah.
So I think that's the issues.
I think we oppose it, but I think that as soon as it hits the ballot and the public sees childcare, no property tax, it's gonna pass. There's no way it won't. I oppose it.
Okay,
Pat, can we clarify, because that question, in looking at least Jackson County's election information, that question about the property tax was on the August 6th ballot. So can we clarify if it's gonna also be on the November ballot?
well, you're right.
It was.
It was, you're right. That one was on there.
And it didn't pass.
It did not pass. There we go.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I read too deep into the thing. The last one was the last one. Thank you.
that's okay.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah, good call. Well, it's November 5th. It's switched over there. Well, good, then we don't have to go through the ballot language for the police funding, which I thought that was on there already too, and I think that did pass barely. Okay, so we are supportive of Missouri gaming. And we are not supporting of changing the minimum wage. Right? Maybe or not taking the stand.
I mean, because of my views and everything, I support raising the minimum wage, but that's me. I think that really, as you said, it's very difficult to find a job for less than 15. I mean,
Right.
it's like most,
It doesn't seem like it would, is this part of a constitutional amendment?
yes.
And that seems like a high level. To put that at.
No, I mean, because it has to be in state statute. And I mean, like, you're going into those things, you've got to put it into the Constitution. I mean, again, my values raise it because too many people are struggling and, you know, people have to make ends meet and it's very, very hard when they're making.
There is always another step, right? I will just. Seeing from there and there, we won't put an opinion on that one. The boat, the extra river boat state of Missouri, we want to know how to opinion. And then that gives us down to. Yeah, I think the only one we really had an opinion on then is the gambling, that we would be in favor of that. So the rest of them, I think we had, I don't know if we had a consensus enough. For it comes to the. Or. Yeah, because the other one that we talked about was the August 6th stuff. Good catch. And then we got the ranked choice voting. I'm not sure where we're. Why, I don't know why that has to be on the constitutional amendment personally, but I don't have an opinion on that, so. I know there's certain states like Alaska have ranked choice voting, I think California does, and I think they've embraced it, and I don't know, it seems like somebody has a reason for putting that on there that I don't know. You know, so.
They're trying to make it harder. I mean, kind of trying to do away with the two-party system in
Yeah.
the states, right? That's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I'll say would that be anything that the chamber would have an opinion on?
I don't know if that's a business opinion. You know, personally. Okay,
But we like money.
we do need revenue.
Right.
Elected officials, Missy, do you have an update from the city?
Mayor says he can't make it, but
The mayor can't
he
make it.
just texted me and said he wasn't able to make it till today.
Please be patient with us as we're doing construction projects throughout the city. Yeah, it's a sign of progress, right?
Sterling looks nice.
It does.
Thank you. And then,
So-
go
Yes,
ahead.
sir.
Anything else going on with the city you would like to inform?
Well, the month of October will be the time where the Board of Aldermen have to approve the sewer rate for the next year and also the budget. So the meetings of October will be entertaining.
Yes, they always were. And I imagine what I've heard is that the people who supply city services to the city of Raytown have increased their rates. And so there's no chance of that not going up, which I think the city has to stay solid on.
Since I'm not a voting individual on that matter, I cannot confirm or deny
Okay, yes, there.
what
we
the
go.
outcome will be.
All right, fair enough. Alan, you got anything for us this morning?
Oh, not really too much. It's really good to see the state and the city both improving our roads. I mean, 350 through Raytown is really nice, getting to be really nice now. I guess it's all the way down, or going to be all the way down to Plaza. That'll be really nice. I guess the only other comment on the guiding principles, the one comment on the stadiums that we have in there, I was wondering if I mean, it seemed to be pretty negative, and I was wondering if we might make that more positive, saying that we support positive change for a great asset in Eastern Jackson County to benefit Eastern Jackson County instead of what we have now. I mean, it sounded like we're fighting something instead of supporting something.
I could go along with that idea.
Sounds good.
I did not realize, I see Daisy Garcia, is it Monday? Dave, with Emmanuel Cleaver's office is on.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
So, do you have anything from the federal level?
Yeah, so a few updates on one of them is passports. I think I had mentioned before how Kansas City was now a designated place for one of the new passport sites to be built. They still haven't released when that will be. I do know that overall the passport agencies, the new ones that are being allocated, they're going to be kind of rolled out. They're not all going to be built or assigned at the same time, but that's still something that we're tracking. On that front, they are now accepting passport renewal applications online. They had started a pilot program back in 2022 in the winter. It wasn't the most successful at that time, but now they have rolled it out and it's official and live. So if anybody wants to renew their passport, you can now pretty much do that and apply for a passport from your home. So that's one thing that's we're really excited about to see how that works. And if you're still having trouble, please reach out to our office. Also with postal service, the congressman's still making sure, we still get calls about people having troubles with the mail delivery. I will say there has been an increase in communication and transparency from the postal service that is making it much easier as like the liaison with the constituent to lay back like, hey, this is what's being investigated, this is the solution, this is how we'll move forward. Recently the congressman, there's a new kind of plan set in place or for postal service. They claim that it would make postal service like save carbon emissions and make delivery faster, but it will have an effect on the rural side. So the congressman has been a little opposed to that because he doesn't want to further delay people in the rural area to get their mail, as we've seen it happen in the past years or so. So that's something that's also we're working on. And then Service Academy nominations, they're open right now. They will be open until I believe November. So if anybody that wants to apply for wants a nomination, they could apply on our website that is available there. And we do have quite spots as well.
Very good. Yeah, I forgot about the survey. So if anybody wants to go to Annapolis, you mean, like, sounds very good.
Yes, but thank you so much for hearing me out this morning.
Does anybody have any questions for Emmanuel Cleaver's office, anything they would like to ask? I think you're getting by easy today. Sounds good. Oh,
I do have one question.
Yeah.
I noticed that Cleaver got involved in the apartment complex or building out in Independence was having issues, and I guess I was wondering how the federal government can get involved in that issue.
Yes, that did occur. So for context, the congressman visited apartments that are very bad conditions in Independence. I believe in this case he was really just wanting to show also how nobody should be living in these conditions and how he's very opposed to any owner to have tenants living in those poor conditions. So I think it was really about kind of showcasing that that's not okay. And he's still, overall, when it comes to like HUD, he's always been a big advocate of, housing and making sure that everybody has proper housing and, has appropriate resources for that. So that's really what he was trying to pinpoint on that note.
And Daisy, doesn't that complex specifically, that's actually pretty close to my home. Doesn't that receive funding from HUD? Making it a federal agency?
I cannot quite remember specifically, but I will follow that up and get back to you all.
very good.
And that would make a difference.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know, Old Oak Tree gets federal funding and there have been issues on that tower also. It seems like there's a lack until the press gets involved and then everything tries to get done at once, and so.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, Chief Doodle with the Raytown Police Department. How's your work going?
The main thing I want to just touch on for, protection of the time and everything, because there's a lot of people well, we have had an amazing hiring team that have done for the just for the sake of time, I'm just going to touch on one topic today. I'll answer any questions best I can, but we've had an amazing hiring team in place and working over the last year, give or take. And staffing's obviously been an issue, particularly in Raytown, since everything that went on in the past. And then you had the kind of the 3-year the great resignation where law enforcement just left. But in Raytown, the staffing team has increased our law enforcement personnel and dispatchers. We're in the mid 30%, about 32, 33%. We've increased our staffing. I think that probably exceeds just about anywhere. in this region. And so we've got some in the academy, some out of the academy, some off break-in. We got some that were already experienced officers. So that's going to allow us to do a lot more. So kudos to an incredible amount of work that goes into bringing those people on board. But that was the main thing I wanted to touch base with this morning.
Great. I would just add that our last podcast featured Captain Rogers. He did an amazing job. I'm editing it right now, and he did touch on hiring, because I guess he does a lot of the recruitment fairs and whatnot. We talked about the school violence. We talked about some of the press of the last couple of years. It was about a 45-minute conversation, and that's after it's been edited down. But I appreciate you letting us talk to him, and that should be up soon.
Okay.
You did a good job.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate the opportunity, and we'll participate that in just about any time that our schedules and commitments will allow. Promise.
Alan?
I was wondering if there's any estimate or guess on when we might have traffic control department back. I know it's a money situation, but is there any goal?
It's actually, it's not a, did you say it is a money situation?
Well, I thought that was the case, but maybe not.
No, it's no, that's I think that's kind of the misconception that people have about any specialized units. There's always three things that play into what we're able to do: money, manpower, and materials. And then we have priorities. Literally, we were to the point where we were almost barely sustaining our ability to respond to 911 calls. So the priority is always 911, and our response times are really good compared to the rest of the region. Don't have a specific time frame about when that is. I'm more, I would love to do that, and at some point in time we will have a traffic unit. I am more inclined to create and spin up what I call impact squads. Now the one specialized unit outside K9, which we also have back now, we have a K9 officer, and he's dedicated to being a K9 officer full time, instead of just a patrol officer who has a dog, so he can work all the shifts. But one of the things that the traffic unit is the only specialized unit with a particular laser focus. I don't have a time frame on that. I am more inclined to put together an impact unit and add bodies to that. That's pretty much just what it sounds like. It's designed to create impact where it needs to be at a given time based on the needs in that moment. I've found over my about 40 years of doing this now that when elements become siloed and they have a specific name, like they're tied to one thing, then they are tied to one thing when we may need them for other things. The one issue that I deviate from that is traffic, because it's terrible. It's terrifying to drive around the metro, and same as it is just about everywhere in the country, which is an example of how thin that thin blue line is. And when it got made thinner, those were the first things to go. So it's a little bit longer answer to your question, but it is the one thing we're focused on. And but I don't have a time frame. It kind of depends on when everybody gets out of the academy, when they get off break-in, how our response time looks to 911, and then we'll go from there. But it's a high priority, just a matter of manpower. And that, to finish up, the city has been incredibly supportive with allowing us to hire the positions that we can. Finding them has been challenging. So it's all about manpower. Money and materials, we're doing okay with. We're doing, we have nice equipment, and we have the ability to hire right now. And so it's really just about identifying resources and bodies that we get in there so that we can make a defensible argument to have a specialized unit like that. So, there's a long answer to your question. Is that clarified a little bit?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Sure.
And I take it, Chief, that when you're talking about impact, I live near Canadian Park, and there's maybe what they call those side shows or street shows that seem to go on. It seems like everybody in the metro area knows they're gonna happen except the police. I don't know how that happens, but it's is that what you mean by having an impact on something like that?
Well, no, it's everything. It's the sideshows, it's drug houses, it's property crimes, it's hot spots that spin up. Impact Squad is designed, it's designed to have an impact where it needs in the moment. The sideshows are a very real problem, very incredibly challenging to deal with because they just run. And we don't chase people, it's dangerous to just chase people for traffic offenses only. I mean, they're doing a sideshow and that's bad, but when they spin up and go 115 miles an hour through a school zone, it's just taking it to another level. So the Impact Squad is a general term that those resources get deployed and their mission changes based on what the needs of the city are, the needs of the department, and the needs of the citizens. So basically what they are is they're a crew, they're a group that's in, their mission is in light pencil so that we can change it to adjust on the fly to what we need to.
Very good. That hits home because Alan Thompson loves.
There you go. Any other questions for the chief? If we could moving on then to Shannon Moss with ReDiscover. You have anything on your mind today you'd like to share?
Oh, I have so many things on my mind. If they're shareable, I don't know, but no, I do want to start first with a kudos to Chief Kuehl. We had a concern over at our building in Raytown, just for the safety of our staff, and man, did Raytown PD step up and just make sure that we were safe and taken care of. And so we're just really grateful that he was so supportive of our concern and sent people to help take care of us. So thank you to Chief Kuehl.
Thanks, you're welcome. We're so happy to help anytime we can.
I do have an update as far as co-response in Raytown, and that is simply that one of our co-responders has opted to stay in Raytown but switch to another program for the time being. Crisis work is hard, and so we really support when somebody has enough self-reflection to say it's time that I take a step in a different direction just to keep myself fresh and motivated. And so she's staying in Raytown. She's going over to our Raytown building. But that does mean we have an opening for our co-response position in Raytown. So we are hiring for that. And it's always good getting new energy into that position anyway. So we're looking forward to seeing who we are able to put into that role. Something else I want to just kind of put on the radar. It's not a request. It's just, hey, this is what's happening. We've got different, so co-response as well as mobile response, but I'm specifically looking at co-response right now. These are positions that are funded by ReDiscover as well as some grant funding. So we recently, in the last year or two, got a little bit of grant funding to support these positions. It's about 20%. And then ReDiscover picks up the rest of the tab. We're able to do that right now. We're committed to it. We're not letting these positions go anywhere because they are so impactful and necessary, and we love the partnerships that we have. That being said, Lee Summit has started looking at with their government to see if they can start supporting us financially as well, adding to that. So again, this isn't a request, but it is we're looking at how do we keep this sustainable going forward, especially when that 20% drops off. I know there's a lot of requests that I get for expansion, for either more hours, more people. We really love our partnership with our community paramedic, Matt Cushman. He's just brilliant. He's such a jewel for Raytown. We love him to pieces. But just getting more support. I'm kind of capped at what I can do because ReDiscover can only take on so many things that we financially fund ourselves. So just putting that on the radar, that's where we sit financially with these positions. And if anybody ever does want to have the conversation of how to help us figure out funding on that, please come talk to me because we love the work that we do there. We are still prepping our partial hospitalization intensive outpatient program for the adolescents. Again, that's going to be out of the Raytown building as well. And we do have some staff hired. We're waiting to hire the remainder of the staff. Not waiting, we're just in process of hiring the remainder of the staff. As soon as we are fully staffed for that, we will launch the program. And again, that will be in the evening hours. I think it's 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. after school, Monday through Thursday, for the adolescents that need more intensive therapeutic services, as well as any medication needs that will be available in that program as well. And then also, if anybody's out and about this weekend and goes by the resource fair, we are going to have some of my leadership out there. I believe the mobile response, which is the non-police response, they're going to be there, as well as my manager for the youth urgent care is going to be there. So please stop by and say hi if you're around.
Very good. Any questions for Shannon? Like we're doing all right. We got to Dave Turner with Raytown Parks, had a nice festival of the trails.
Yeah, that worked out really good. All of our volunteers pitched in. We had well over 2,000 people in attendance. So that event just went really well. In the meantime, what we are doing here is doing registration for youth basketball over the winter season. We are going to go before the Board of Aldermen for a approval of a trim grant. We have been awarded $24,000 from the state of Missouri for tree trimming and tree maintenance. And that is a reimbursable grant. It's at 90%. So we'll spend $24,000 and get back roughly $22,000. So that's tremendous for our city. We do have an ongoing $1 million grant project at 53rd Street, the former Super Splash. We are breaking up concrete. All of the buildings are down, and we're well underway with that demolition. We have hit a few rough patches. Some reinforced concrete that was much bigger than we were expecting, but we are making progress there. Either today or, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Super Splash is there a long time. It's not going to come down in a day, is it?
No, and in fact, our lower pool, the family style beach entry pool, it was 2 feet thick, and it had 40-foot long rebar in it, all tied together on 8-inch centers. And it was basically built like a highway bridge, and our contractors broke some very big equipment trying to break that all up before they found a way to make that work.
Good. Any questions for David? Greg Hunsaker with these. Thanks for coming this morning. Would you have anything to add into the cause here?
No, just happy to be here. I've for those of you that don't know me, former owner and operator of V's Italiano Ristorante. My son now is the current owner. I work for him.
Okay.
But I had the last 25 years, I have chaired the Missouri Restaurant Association's Political Action Committee, and have spent many a day and night in Jeff City and many a day and night in Washington, D.C. advocating for the restaurant industry. And so when Pat invited me to join this meeting today, I thought, why not? We should. This is what I love. So I love the art of debate. So here we are.
Very glad to have you.
Thank you.
I think that gets us to Wendy McDermott. Do you have anything to add this morning? No. Maybe not. Okay. So you have anything you'd like to add?
I think I've spoken.
Please, if everybody could, or Alan, you got anything else? Maybe I can go there. Do Alan.
What was that? I just look forward to seeing quite a few people at their gala tomorrow night when Pat's going to be recognized Citizen of the Year for Raytown. Hope a lot of people can join us for that.
Sounds like there will be a lot there. My family's in town and we'll really start to feel it. So I appreciate that. I appreciate also, I worked a lot of years for Tybee and the Water District, and I appreciate the fact that my employers were making it possible for me to volunteer so much for a lot of things around the community over the last 30 years. So some credit I think needs to go to the situation you're in on your ability to volunteer. And that's very much appreciated of both of those. So that said, the guiding principles we will tweak, rewrite, send out. If you have any opinions on those, it would be time to start putting them on paper and send us an email about it. If there's a topic that's not even on there that you think that maybe the chamber would be interested in supporting, take it forward. We'll talk about it next. Let's see, this is we have October meeting, and then they would like to have that approved by the November meeting, so a little bit of time on that. I think, as far as the ballot initiatives go, I think, we've made people aware of it, and, to go vote, I think is, well, to do the most on there. And I think we need to do a little bit for them, and to see Eastern Jackson County. So that said, Jeff Ertz,
Upcoming event.
upcoming events.
Of course, Alan touched on Toast of the Town's gala or gala coming up on the September 25th, we have a membership luncheon, and that's gonna feature the CEO of Starlight, and they're gonna talk about 75 years of Starlight and then where they're headed. We do have a couple ribbon cuttings coming up that gets us outside of our area, so the Better Business Bureau Midwest in Overland Park and Arc of the Ozarks is a Lee Summit joint venture that we'll be doing. We have a morning coffee on October 8th. That'll be at the chamber office, and Adams Insurance Services is sponsoring that. And then we have a lunch and learn, which is a workforce update for Raytown, Jackson County and the greater Kansas City region. And that should be a really good informative lunch and learn that I would highly recommend that you attend. And then the State of the Schools luncheon and our annual meeting will be in October at that membership luncheon on October 23rd. We'll also, membership services is going to be sending out a brief survey probably later today. It kind of touches on every committee. If you could take that survey, that would be fantastic as we're looking to find relevant topics and speakers for our 2025 events. You may have noticed our Adopt a Street, we have started a campaign that's just ongoing, perpetual campaign to get more streets adopted in Raytown and get an organized cleanup to get more coverage in the area. And of course, I already mentioned that we recorded a podcast at the school district, new location. It features Captain Rogers, and it was a great conversation, and so that should be released as soon as I can get it fully edited. But yeah, next meeting on the 18th of October.
All right. Hey, everybody, have a good, safe weekend. Thanks for coming. And
Matt.
You bet, thanks.
Good day.
Good day.